Hi, I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to read you the story of Mary, which is titled like this. My 8-year-old daughter spent her cousin's birthday party. I paid $2,000 for it, in the closet. They said she was not dressed well enough. She cried all day after that. I didn't make a scene, I just did something that made them turn pale. Well, let's go? So here I am, Mary, 37 years old, and let me tell you about the mess that completely changed my relationship with my family. It all started with what seemed like a normal phone conversation with my older sister Lisa. I was sitting in my living room yesterday evening, scrolling through my phone when Lisa called. My 8-year-old daughter Emma was in her room doing homework. Hey Mary, I need to talk to you about Jessica's birthday party, Lisa said, sounding stressed. Jessica is Lisa's daughter, my niece, who was turning 14. I've always been close to both of Lisa's kids, Jessica and her 10-year-old brother Mike. Being divorced for several years now and raising Emma on my own, I know how important family support is. What's going on? I asked, already mentally preparing to help however I could. You know that fancy bakery next to your place? They have this amazing cake Jessica wants. It's $300, and with everything else I'm spending. I knew exactly which bakery she meant. It was this upscale place on Maple Street that made those Instagram-worthy custom cakes. You want me to get the cake? I offered. Would you? Jessica would absolutely die if she got that cake. I could hear the relief in Lisa's voice. I make good money in marketing, and I've never been one to say no when family needs help, especially when it comes to the kids. Of course I'll get it. Just text me the details. Thank you. You're the best sister ever. We spent the next hour going over party details. Lisa wanted everything perfect for Jessica's 14th birthday. She told me about the decorations, the playlist, and how she'd invited about 15 of Jessica's friends from school. I'd already given Lisa $2,000 the month before to help with party expenses, but getting Jessica's dream cake felt like a small thing to make her day extra special. After we hung up, I felt that warm feeling you get when you're doing something nice for family. I walked into Emma's room to tell her about the party plans. She was at her little desk, working on math homework. Hey, sweetie. We're going to Jessica's birthday party on Saturday. Emma's face lit up. Really? Can I wear my new blue dress? That sounds perfect. As I tucked Emma into bed that night, I was thinking about how lucky we are to have such a close family. Sure, Lisa and her husband David sometimes struggle financially. David works construction and the work isn't always steady, but we all look out for each other. Our parents live about 20 minutes away and are always involved in family events. They adore their grandchildren and never miss a birthday or school play. I've always been the one with the steady, well-paying job, so helping out financially has become natural. I pay half of Lisa's rent every month, $1,000, because their house is in a great school district. I also cover Jessica and Mike's sports club memberships, about $200 monthly for both. Saturday morning came quickly. I picked up Jessica's beautiful cake from the bakery. It was even more stunning than the pictures Lisa had shown me. The layers were perfectly decorated with intricate fondant flowers and gold details. Emma was practically bouncing with excitement when she saw it. Jessica's going to love this, Emma said, carefully holding the cake box in the car. We drove to Lisa's house, and I could already see cars parked outside. The party was just getting started. Lisa opened the door with a huge smile, looking relieved and happy. Oh my God, Mary, that cake is gorgeous. Jessica's going to flip. I carried the cake inside, while Emma ran off to find her cousins. The house was decorated with balloons and streamers, and I could hear teenage voices chattering excitedly upstairs. Lisa had really outdone herself. I hate to do this, I said, checking my phone, but I got called into work for an emergency project. I need to drop Emma off and head to the office. That sucks, but don't worry about Emma. She'll have a blast here. I found Emma in the living room, already deep in conversation with Jessica and Mike. She looked so happy and excited to be part of the celebration. Emma, sweetheart, I have to go to work for a few hours, but you're going to stay here and have fun at the party, okay? I'll be back around 6 to pick you up. I gave Emma a hug and kiss, then handed Jessica her gift, a brand new smartphone she'd been wanting. Her scream of joy was worth every penny. I hugged Jessica, said goodbye to everyone, and headed to my car. The work project was important and time-sensitive, something that couldn't wait until Monday. But I knew Emma was in good hands with Lisa and my parents, who had just arrived as I was leaving. I spent the next several hours at the office, working on complex spreadsheets and presentations. The project was demanding, but I managed to get everything done by 6 o'clock. As I packed up my things and headed out, I was already looking forward to hearing all about the party from Emma. Driving back to Lisa's house, I found myself smiling as I imagined how happy Emma must be. She probably spent the whole day playing games with her cousins, eating party food, and dancing with Jessica's friends. I could already picture her excited face when she'd tell me about everything that happened, the cake cutting, the presents, the music, all the fun moments she'd experienced at her first real teenage party. When I pulled up to Lisa's house at 6 o'clock, I was still smiling from ear to ear. I knocked on the door, and Lisa answered pretty quickly. But something felt off immediately. She looked tired and kind of irritated, not at all like the happy, grateful sister I'd left a few hours earlier. "Oh, hey Mary, you're here for Emma, right? Yeah, how did everything go? Did she have fun?" Lisa didn't really answer my question. Instead, she turned around and called upstairs. "Emma, your mom's here!" I tried to peek inside to see if my parents were still there, and I caught a glimpse of them in the living room. They saw me and waved, giving me those sweet smiles they always had for their daughters. I waved back, feeling a little confused about why Lisa seemed so rushed. Emma came down the stairs, and that's when I knew something was really wrong. My usually chatty, energetic daughter looked absolutely miserable. Her face was pale, her eyes looked red like she'd been crying, and she was walking really slowly, like she didn't want to face the world. "Hey, sweetheart, ready to go home?" I asked, trying to sound upbeat. Emma just nodded without saying anything. She didn't run to me like she usually does, didn't start talking a mile a minute about all the fun things that happened. She just stood there, looking at the floor. Lisa was already getting Emma's little person jacket from the coat closet. "Thanks again for the cake, Mary. Jessica loved it, and thanks for the phone too. She's been showing it off to everyone." Of course, I'm glad she liked everything. I was still trying to figure out what was going on with Emma. "So, how was the party, Em? Did you dance with Jessica's friends?" Emma shrugged and mumbled something I couldn't hear. Lisa handed Emma her things and kind of nudged her toward the door. "We're pretty beat from all the party excitement. Need to get this mess cleaned up before David gets home from work." I was getting more confused by the minute. Lisa was practically pushing us out the door, and Emma looked like she'd rather be anywhere else in the world. This wasn't how I'd imagined our reunion going at all. "Well, okay then. Thanks for watching, Emma. I'll call you later to hear how everything went." "Sure, whatever. Talk to you later." And just like that, Lisa closed the door behind us. I stood there for a second, totally bewildered by the whole interaction. Through the window, I could see my parents still in the living room, but they were looking away now, busy with cleaning up or something. Emma was already walking toward the car, moving really slowly with her head down. I hurried to catch up with her. "Emma, honey, are you feeling okay? You look sad." She didn't answer, just got in the car and buckled her seatbelt. I started the engine and pulled away from Lisa's house, glancing at Emma in the rearview mirror every few seconds. She was staring out the window, not talking, not moving, just sitting there like a little statue. I tried a few more times to get her talking, asking about the music, the decorations, whether she played any games with Mike, but Emma just kept staring out the window, not responding to any of my questions. The car ride that I'd expected to be filled with excited chatter about the party was dead silent, except for the sound of the engine. By the time we got home, I was starting to worry that maybe Emma had gotten into some kind of argument with one of the kids at the party. You know how it is with children. One minute they're best friends, the next minute someone says something mean and feelings get hurt. I figured maybe she'd had a disagreement with Jessica or one of the teenage girls, and now she was sulking about it. We walked into the house, and Emma went straight to the kitchen without saying a word to me. I watched as she opened the refrigerator and started pulling out sandwich ingredients: turkey, cheese, bread, mayo. She made not one, but 2 huge sandwiches, way more food than she usually eats for dinner. I was surprised because I'd assumed she would have eaten plenty at the party, There was supposed to be pizza, snacks, cake, all kinds of party food. But here she was, making these enormous sandwiches like she hadn't eaten all day. "Weren't you full from party food, sweetie?" Emma just shook her head and kept making her sandwiches. She sat down at the kitchen table and ate both of them in complete silence. I sat across from her, watching her eat and trying to figure out what could have happened to make her so quiet and sad. After she finished eating, Emma got up from the table, put her plate in the dishwasher, and headed toward her bedroom without saying goodnight or anything. This was definitely not normal behavior for my usually talkative daughter. "Emma, wait. Don't you want to watch a movie or something? Tell me about the party?" She paused at the bottom of the stairs and looked at me with these really sad eyes. "I'm tired, Mom. Can I just go to bed?" "Of course, honey. But if something happened today, you know you can talk to me about it, right?" She nodded, but didn't say anything else. I watched her walk up the stairs to her room, feeling more confused and worried with every step she took. I spent the next hour trying to make sense of what had happened. Maybe the party had been too overwhelming for Emma. She's used to smaller family gatherings, and having 15 teenagers around might have been intimidating. Or maybe she felt left out because Jessica's friends were so much older than her. Around 8 o'clock, I couldn't take the worry anymore. I decided to go upstairs and check on Emma, maybe try to get her to open up about whatever was bothering her. I only came out once because I really had to use the bathroom. I drank some water from the faucet because I was so thirsty. Then I ran back to the closet because I was scared they'd be mad at me for leaving. "You were there for hours without food or water?" Emma nodded. "And when you came to pick me up, Aunt Lisa told me not to tell you anything. She said you'd think I was making up stories to get attention, and that everyone would be mad at me for lying about the family." I held Emma tighter, trying to control my anger so I wouldn't scare her more than she already was. While I was at work, thinking about how much fun Emma was having, she was locked in a closet, hungry and alone, listening to a party that she should have been enjoying. "Is there anything else you want to tell me about today?" Emma wiped her nose with her sleeve. "When I was sitting in that closet, I found a felt-tip pen on the table. I wrote my name and today's date on the wall. I don't know why I did it. I guess I just wanted to prove I was really there." I almost smiled through my anger. "You know what? That makes you like Robinson Crusoe. He was stranded alone too, and he marked things to keep track of time. You're my little Robinson Crusoe." Emma managed a tiny smile. "Will you read me that story sometime?" "Of course I will, but right now, I want you to try to get some sleep. You've been through a lot today." I turned off her light and closed her door, but as soon as I was in the hallway, I felt like I was going to explode with anger. I went straight to my bedroom, grabbed my phone, and started calling Lisa. The phone rang and rang, but she didn't pick up. I called again. Still no answer. On the third try, she finally picked up. "Hey, Mary, what's up?" She sounded casual, like nothing had happened. "Emma told me everything, Lisa. Everything." There was a pause. "What do you mean?" "I mean, she told me how you locked her in a closet all day without food or water while she listened to a party that I paid for." "Oh, come on, Mary. Emma's always been dramatic. She exaggerates everything." I could not believe what I was hearing. "She's 8 years old, Lisa. She was hungry and scared." "Look, nothing really happened. Emma just didn't get along with Jessica's friends, so she went upstairs on her own. She was being antisocial and didn't want to join the party. I went up to check on her and offered her food, but she refused to eat." "That's complete bullshit, and you know it." "Your daughter was being difficult all day, Mary. Maybe you should work on her behavior instead of blaming everyone else." That was it. I couldn't listen to another word. "Don't ever call me again." I hung up the phone and sat there shaking with rage. I couldn't believe my own sister had treated Emma this way and then had the nerve to blame an 8-year-old child for what happened. Right then and there, I made a decision that would change everything. I was done supporting Lisa financially. I was done being the family member who everyone could count on for money while they treated my daughter like garbage. I opened my banking app and canceled the automatic transfer of $1,000 that went to Lisa every month for her rent. Then I canceled the $200 monthly transfer for Jessica and Mike's sports clubs. If Lisa wanted to treat my daughter like she didn't belong in the family, then she could pay her own bills. 2 weeks passed after Jessica's party, and I didn't speak to Lisa or my parents once. I was still furious about what they'd done to Emma, and honestly, I needed time to cool down before I said something I might regret. Emma seemed to be doing better. She was back to her usual cheerful self, and we'd started reading Robinson Crusoe together every night before bed. Then Lisa started calling. I let every call go to voicemail. When that didn't work, she started texting. "Mary, I didn't get the $1,000 this month. We need to pay rent." I deleted the message without responding. "Seriously, where's the money? David's asking questions." Delete. "The sports club is asking about Jessica and Mike's fees. What's going on?" Delete. A few hours later, my parents started calling. I ignored them too. I turned off my phone and spent the evening playing board games with Emma, trying to enjoy our peaceful life without family drama. The next day, I heard knocking at my front door. Through the window, I could see Lisa and David standing on my porch, looking agitated. I didn't answer. They knocked for about 10 minutes before giving up and leaving. This went on for another few days, until my grandmother called. Grandma Rose is my mom's mother, and she's always been the peacekeeper in our family. I've always respected her, so when she called, I picked up. "Mary, honey, your mother called me very upset. She says you won't talk to the family and you've stopped helping Lisa with money." "Hi, Grandma. Yeah, that's true." "What happened, sweetheart? Your mother is beside herself." I explained everything to Grandma, what Emma had told me about the party, how she'd been locked in a closet, how Lisa had denied it all and blamed Emma for being difficult. Grandma was quiet for a long time. "That's very serious, Mary. I think we need to get everyone together and sort this out properly. Can you come to Lisa's house this Saturday? I'll make sure everyone's there." I didn't really want to deal with a family meeting, but I respected Grandma enough to agree. "Okay, but I'm bringing proof of what Emma went through." Saturday came, and I dropped Emma off at her friend's house for a sleepover. I didn't want her anywhere near this confrontation. When I got to Lisa's house, I could see several cars in the driveway. Grandma had definitely gathered the troops. I walked into the house and saw Lisa, David, my parents, Grandma, and a couple of my aunts and uncles sitting in the living room. It felt like an intervention, and I was clearly the target. As soon as I sat down, the attack started. "Mary, this is ridiculous," my dad said. "You can't just cut off your sister because of some misunderstanding. It's not like you to be so cold to family," my mom added. "Lisa needs your help." My uncle chimed in. "We raised you better than this. Family comes first." I listened to them lecture me for about 5 minutes before I finally spoke up. Emma didn't have a misunderstanding. She was locked in a closet for hours without food while you all enjoyed a party I paid for. Lisa jumped in immediately. "Mary, I already told you. Emma went upstairs on her own. She wasn't in the closet. She spent all the time in my daughter's bedroom. Emma wrote her name and today's date in that closet," I said. "Want to go check?" I stood up, and reluctantly everyone else followed. We went upstairs, and Lisa opened the closet door. She turned on the light, and there it was, written in blue felt-tip pen on the wall next to the little table. Emma and the date of Jessica's party. Grandma looked at the writing, then turned to Lisa with a stern expression. "Well, how do you explain this?" Lisa stared at the wall for a moment, and I could see her trying to come up with another lie. But something in Grandma's voice must have broken her resolve, because suddenly she exploded. "Fine. Yes, I put her in here. I'm sick of this whole thing." Everyone stared at her in shock. "I'm tired of Mary making more money than us. I'm tired of having to beg her for help every month. I'm tired of her daughter getting nice clothes and toys while my kids have to settle for less." Emma looked too good at the party, and it made Jessica's friends ask questions about why some people in our family have more than others. The room was dead silent. Even David looked horrified by what his wife was saying. And yes, I told Mom to put Emma upstairs so she wouldn't show off her nice dress to everyone. I didn't want Jessica's friends thinking we were poor compared to Mary. My mom tried to defend Lisa. "Lisa's under a lot of stress, Mary. You have to understand her position." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They were actually trying to justify what they'd done to Emma. "You know what? I'm done with all of you. You want to blame an 8-year-old child for making you feel bad about your financial situation? You can figure out your own problems from now on." Grandma spoke up. "Mary's right. I'm ashamed of all of you. That little girl didn't deserve to be treated that way. I looked around the room at my family, people I'd supported financially for years, people I'd thought loved Emma as much as I did. Don't call me, don't come to my house, and don't expect another penny from me. I walked out of that house and drove home, feeling angry but also relieved. For the first time in years, I didn't have to worry about anyone else's financial problems. I didn't have to listen to Lisa complain about money or feel guilty for having a good job. That was several months ago. I haven't spoken to Lisa or my parents since that day. Grandma calls me every few weeks to check on Emma and me, and she tells me that Lisa's family had to move to a smaller apartment because they couldn't afford their rent without my help. David apparently had to take a second job, and the kids had to quit their sports clubs. Part of me feels bad for Jessica and Mike. None of this was their fault. But I can't support a family that thinks it's okay to mistreat my daughter. Emma and I are doing great. She's back to her happy, confident self, and she loves our quiet life together. We still see Grandma and some of my aunts and uncles who supported us during the confrontation. We read Robinson Crusoe together every night, and Emma always smiles when I call her my little Robinson Crusoe. I learned something important from all this. You can't buy family loyalty with money, and real family doesn't punish children for their parents' success. Emma and I have each other, and we have the family members who truly care about us. That's enough.